The envelope looked expensive before I even touched it. Thick, cream-colored, gold lettering pressed deep into the surface like it was trying to prove something. I sat at my small kitchen table, the same scratched-up table I'd owned for over 30 years, and just stared at it. I didn't open it right away. I didn't need to. I already knew it was from my daughter, Chloe. And I had a feeling this wasn't just a wedding invitation. It was something else, something heavier. The morning light hit the envelope just right, making it shine like it belonged in a completely different life than mine. My kitchen smelled like black coffee and yesterday's leftovers. Outside, the quiet street hadn't even fully woken up yet, but somehow that envelope had already changed everything. I finally picked it up. It had weight to it, not just physical weight, the kind of weight that carries expectations. I opened it carefully, the way I always do with nice things. Old habits don't leave you, especially when you've spent your whole life trying not to waste anything. Inside, exactly what you'd expect from a perfect wedding. Thick invitation card, luxury venue details, hotel accommodations, RSVP card with prepaid postage, and then a separate note, handwritten, from Chloe. My fingers tightened slightly as I unfolded it. "Mom, I know this is a lot, but this is our moment. Dad would have wanted me to have the wedding of my dreams. I was thinking $450,000 would cover my part. We'll talk soon. Love you." I didn't blink. Didn't react, didn't breathe. I just read it again. $450,000, not 45, not 100. 450,000. I slowly placed the note back on the table and pressed both hands flat against the surface, grounding myself. My brain started doing what it always does. Calculating. At my current job, $12 an hour part-time, that amount would take me over 30,000 hours to earn for a single day. A party. My eyes drifted toward the wall. Photos, pieces of a life I thought I understood. Chloe at 7 years old, smiling with missing teeth in a cheap costume I'd bought on clearance. Chloe at 13, rolling her eyes because I wouldn't buy her a designer dress. Chloe at 18, wearing something I had sewn myself because $300 for a dress is insane. She cried for 2 days over that dress. 2 days. And now she was asking for nearly $500,000. Somewhere along the way, I didn't just lose control. I lost the lesson. I stood up slowly and walked to the small cabinet where I kept my finances. Everything was organized. Always had been. That's how you survive on less. Checking account, barely over 1,000. Savings, not even 10,000. Retirement fund, a little over 400,000. That retirement money wasn't just money. It was every no I had ever said to myself. No vacations, no new clothes, no luxuries, every sacrifice sitting in one account. And my daughter wanted almost all of it for one day. I sat back down. That's when I noticed another envelope stuck underneath the invitation. Plain, thin, cold. I opened it. Final notice, outstanding medical balance, $47,000. I stared at it, then at the wedding note, then back again. One asking for $450,000 to celebrate life. The other demanding $47,000 to save mine. And in that moment, something inside me shifted. Not broke, shifted. Because suddenly this wasn't about money anymore. It was about truth. I picked up my phone and called Chloe, straight to voicemail. Of course, I let out a slow breath and spoke after the beep. "Chloe, it's me. We need to talk." I paused. Looked at the 2 letters in front of me. "I'm coming to see you this weekend." I hung up, and for the first time in years, I didn't feel confused. I didn't feel guilty. I felt clear. Because deep down, I already knew something my daughter didn't. She thought she was asking me for money, but what she had really done was force me to finally make a decision. Chloe adjusted her phone slightly, just a few degrees higher, until the sunlight hit her face perfectly. There it was, that soft, golden glow, the kind that made everything look effortless, expensive, enviable. "Hey guys," I said into the camera, my voice lighter, brighter, almost like a different version of me lived inside that lens. "I've been getting so many questions about my wedding planning, and I'm honestly just so excited to share this journey with you." I paused, smiled wider. Perfect. I stopped recording, watched it back, added a filter, nothing too obvious, just enough to smooth reality into something better, then I posted it. Within seconds, the likes started climbing. Comments followed. "Goals, your life is literally a dream, obsessed with this wedding era." I stared at the screen a second longer than I should have. Because if they only knew, I turned away from the window and looked around my apartment. Everything looked perfect, that was the point. The couch, designer but rented, the shelves, styled but empty of anything real, the kitchen, spotless because I barely used it, even the flowers were fake. It wasn't a home, it was a set. And I was the main character in a life I couldn't actually afford. My phone buzzed, a notification. Payment failed, I froze. Slowly, I opened my banking app, negative balance, again. I swallowed hard and walked into my bedroom, closing the door like somehow that would keep reality out. Then I opened my laptop. 17 tabs, all of them debt, credit cards, store accounts, payment plans. I clicked through them one by one. $12,000, $9,000, $18,000, $21,000 total, just under $90,000. My chest tightened. I leaned back, staring at the ceiling. This wasn't supposed to happen. This was supposed to be temporary. Everyone said the same thing: spend to grow, invest in your image. Once you hit a certain level, the money follows. I had hit the level. The money never came. I closed the laptop quickly, like I could shut it all away with one motion. But I couldn't, because the truth was simple. I wasn't building a life. I was maintaining an illusion, and that illusion was expensive. My phone buzzed again. Unknown number, I ignored it. It rang again, ignored, again. Finally, I answered. Hello, Miss Carter, this is regarding your outstanding balance. I hung up. Immediately, my heart was racing now. This was getting worse, faster than I expected. I walked to my closet and opened it. Rows of clothes, shoes, bags, thousands of dollars. Most of them still had tags, some I wore once. Some never. Some I planned to return but never did. And suddenly none of it felt impressive. It felt heavy, like evidence. I grabbed my phone and opened my messages, scrolled to one name, Ethan, my fiancé. I typed, "We need to talk about the wedding budget." 3 dots appeared, disappeared, then came his reply, "Relax. We'll figure it out, figure it out." That's what we'd been saying for months, but there was nothing to figure out. We were both broke, just dressed better than it looked. I sat on the edge of the bed and stared at my hands, perfect nails. Perfect polish, perfect image, and underneath it all, I was drowning. Then my phone buzzed again, a voicemail from Mom. I hesitated, almost didn't play it, but something in me made me press it. "Chloe, it's me. We need to talk. I'm coming to see you this weekend." My stomach dropped. Her voice, it wasn't soft. It wasn't unsure, it was different. Firm, controlled, certain. And suddenly, for the first time since I sent that note, I felt something I hadn't expected. Not confidence, not relief, fear, real fear, because deep down I knew something had shifted. She wasn't calling to agree, she wasn't coming to help, she was coming to see the truth. And the worst part, I wasn't sure I could hide it anymore. By the time my mom knocked on my door, I was already panicking. Not because she was coming, but because I had nothing left to hide behind. No filters, no edits, no second takes, just reality. I opened the door. And for a second, I didn't recognize her. She looked smaller somehow, not physically but quieter, still, like something inside her had settled into place. "Hi, Mom," I said, forcing a smile. She looked at me for a long moment. Not smiling, not judging, just observing. "Can I come in?" she asked. That tone, it wasn't a question. It was permission she already assumed she had. "Yeah, of course." She stepped inside slowly, her eyes moving across the apartment. And I saw it, that moment. That exact moment when she understood. The couch, the decor, the staged perfection. She wasn't impressed. She was reading it. "Nice place," she said, simple, neutral, but something about it made my chest tighten. "Thanks, we just finished redecorating," I said quickly. She nodded, didn't respond. That was worse, way worse. "Do you want coffee?" I asked. "I want the truth," she said, just like that. No build-up, no softness. My stomach dropped. "What?" I laughed nervously. "Mom, what are you talking about?" "Sit down, Chloe." That voice, I hadn't heard it in years, not since I was a kid in trouble, and without thinking I sat. She stayed standing, looking down at me, control. She had control. $450,000, she said. My throat went dry. "We can talk about that. How much do you make?" she interrupted. I blinked. "What, your income?" "Yearly. It's not fixed. I mean, I do brand deals and..." "A number, Chloe." Silence. "Around 30,000, I said quietly. She nodded once. "Your rent?" 3,000 a month. Her eyes didn't change, didn't widen, didn't react, and somehow that made it worse. You earn 30,000 and spend over 30,000 on rent alone, she said calmly. I felt exposed, like she had peeled everything back in seconds. It's different now, Mom, this is how it works. No, she said, one word, sharp, final. This is not how anything works. I swallowed hard. You don't understand this world. I understand numbers, she cut in. And these numbers don't lie. Silence filled the room, heavy, unavoidable. Then she said it. You're drowning. My eyes burned instantly. I'm not, you are. Her voice softened slightly, not kind, but honest. And the worst part, she added, you're pretending you're swimming. That broke something. I looked away because she was right. And I hated that she was right. So yes, I snapped. Okay, I'm struggling, but that's why I need help. Help, she repeated. Yes, that's what parents do. You help your kids. I did, she said quietly, for 28 years. The words hit harder than I expected. You gave me everything, I said quickly. So why stop now? Because I never taught you when to stop. Silence. I didn't know what to say to that. You think this wedding fixes your life, she continued. You think spending $450,000 will solve $90,000 in debt? I froze. How do you know that? She didn't answer. That scared me. Mom, how do you know that? I asked again. She stepped closer. Slow, controlled. Because I stopped guessing, she said. I started looking. My heart started pounding. What does that mean? It means I know about the credit cards. My breath caught. The missed payments. I couldn't move. The collections calls you don't answer. My hands started shaking. And the loan. Everything inside me went cold. What loan? I whispered. She pulled something from her bag, paper, set it on the table in front of me. I looked down. And my entire world collapsed. My signature, or something that looked like it, but it wasn't mine, not exactly. The loan, the one I thought I could manage, the one I thought no one would notice. I didn't, I started. You used my name, she said, not loud, not angry, just undeniable. Tears filled my eyes instantly. I was going to fix it. When? She asked. I had no answer. I was going to pay it back. I tried again. With what? She asked calmly. Silence. Again, always silence when truth shows up. I didn't mean for it to get this bad, I whispered. I know, she said. That surprised me. I looked up. I know you didn't mean for this life to happen either, she added. And suddenly I wasn't angry anymore. I was just tired. I don't know how to fix it, I admitted. My voice broke. For real this time, not for a camera. Not for sympathy, just real. She looked at me, really looked. And for a second I thought she might soften. I thought she might say, it's okay. I'll take care of it. That's what she always did. That's what I expected. That's what I needed. But instead, she said something that changed everything. I'm not giving you the money, Chloe. The words hit like a slap. What? I'm not giving you $450,000. My chest tightened. You have it. That doesn't mean it's yours. This is my wedding, I shouted. This is your life, she shot back, and you're destroying it. Tears spilled down my face. You're my mother? Yes, she said. And that's exactly why I'm saying no. Silence. Cold, final. Please, I whispered. I need this. No, she said again. And this time there was no doubt, no hesitation, no weakness, just truth. And in that moment, I realized something I never thought I would. My mother wasn't coming to save me. She was here to stop me. I thought the worst part was over. I was wrong. Because what my mother said next didn't just shake me, it exposed everything. She didn't argue, didn't raise her voice. She just reached into her bag again and pulled out more documents. Stacked, organized, prepared. That's when I realized this wasn't a conversation. This was something she had been building toward. What is all this? I asked, my voice barely steady. The truth, she said. She sat down across from me now, calm. Controlled, stronger than I had ever seen her. I met with a lawyer, she continued. My stomach dropped. A lawyer, I repeated. Yes, she said, because what you did, Chloe, wasn't just a mistake. I felt my chest tighten. It was fraud. The word hit differently when she said it, not dramatic, not emotional, just factual. I didn't mean to, I started again. I know, she said, and again that surprised me. But intent doesn't erase consequences. Silence. Then she nodded toward the papers. Look, I didn't want to, but I did. Bank statements, loan documents, my name, her name, connections I didn't even realize were visible. How do you even have all this? I whispered. Because someone helped me. That made me look up. Who? She held my gaze. A former student. That hit me in a strange way, because suddenly this wasn't just personal anymore. It was real, outside of me, outside of my control. She works at the bank, Mom continued. She saw the inconsistencies. My heart started racing again. So what does that mean? I asked. It means, she said carefully, this could become a criminal case. Everything inside me dropped. No, I whispered. Yes. Her voice didn't shake, mine did. They can charge you, she continued. Forgery, financial fraud. I felt dizzy. I didn't think, that's the problem, she said sharply. You didn't think. Tears started falling again, but this time they didn't help, they didn't change anything. So what are you going to do? I asked. That question felt heavier than anything else. Because now I wasn't asking as a daughter, I was asking as someone who had crossed a line. She leaned back slightly, and for the first time I saw something different in her eyes, not anger, not sadness. Decision, I'm protecting myself, she said, my throat tightened. What does that mean? It means I've already reported the fraud. The world went silent. What? I whispered. I filed the report, she repeated. You reported me? Her eyes didn't leave mine. I reported what happened. That was worse because it wasn't emotional, it was final. Tears blurred my vision. You're going to send me to jail? I asked, my voice breaking. She didn't answer immediately, and that pause was terrifying. No, she said finally. Relief hit for half a second. Not if you stop. Confusion replaced it. Stop what? Stop pretending this is still something you can control. She leaned forward slightly. You're not in charge anymore, Chloe? That sentence cut deeper than anything else she had said, because she was right, I wasn't. I spoke to an attorney, she continued. I've secured my accounts, blocked any access, filed documentation. Everything is being monitored now. Every word felt like another door closing. And you, she added quietly, you have two choices. I looked at her, terrified. What choices? You fix your life, she said. Or the system will do it for you? My hands were shaking so badly I had to grip the edge of the table. I don't even know how to fix it, I admitted. That was the first real thing I'd said all day. She studied me, longer this time. Like she was searching for something, maybe the version of me she used to know. I believe you, she said. That broke me more than anger ever could because she wasn't yelling. She wasn't blaming, she was just done pretending. And that's exactly why I won't save you, she added. I closed my eyes, tears falling freely now. I thought you'd help me, I whispered. I am helping you, she said. I looked up, confused. This is help, yes. Her voice softened slightly. For the first time in your life, you're being forced to face reality. Silence, heavy, unavoidable. Then she stood, picked up her bag. I didn't come here to destroy you, she said. I couldn't even respond. I came here, she continued, to stop you from destroying yourself completely. She walked toward the door. Each step felt like something ending. Mom, I said weakly. She paused, didn't turn around. I don't know what to do, I said. That was the truth, finally, completely. She stood there for a moment, then said something I will never forget. Then it's time you learn. And just like that, she walked out, leaving me alone, not with freedom. Not with options, but with something far more terrifying, reality. I didn't move for a long time after she left. I just sat there, staring at the papers, at the words, at the reality I had spent years avoiding. Fraud, debt, failure, it all felt too big, too heavy, too real. Then my phone buzzed. Ethan. Of course, I stared at his name for a few seconds before answering. Hey, I said quietly, what the hell is going on? He snapped, no warmth, no concern, just irritation. My stomach dropped. What do you mean? I asked. Your mom just called me, he said. She left some message about legal action, fraud, accounts. What did you do, Chloe? Something inside me shifted. Not panic, not fear, something else, clarity. She didn't call you to help, I said slowly. She called because you're involved. Silence, a pause too long. What's that supposed to mean? He asked. That's when it hit me. That tiny feeling I had ignored before was now impossible to ignore. You knew, I said, not a question, a realization. What? He scoffed. You knew how bad things were, I continued. You knew about the debt, the accounts, everything? Of course I knew, he said. We're getting married, Chloe. That's kind of how that works. No, that wasn't it. That wasn't what felt wrong. You didn't just know, I said quietly. You had a plan. Silence again. This time he didn't respond immediately, and that told me everything. What plan? I pressed. You're overreacting, he said quickly. You're emotional right now? No, I cut in. For the first time, my voice didn't shake. Tell me the truth. Another pause, then a sigh, not guilt, not fear, annoyance. Fine, he said, and just like that, everything changed. You were never supposed to find out like this. My heart stopped. What does that mean? I whispered. It means, he said, we had a solution. We, not you, not me, we. What solution? I asked, even though part of me didn't want to hear it. Your mom, he said, my chest tightened instantly. What about her? She's sitting on nearly $500,000, he continued. More actually if you include her house. Every word felt colder, more calculated. That money just sits there, he added. While we're drowning, I repeated. You're in debt, Chloe, he snapped. I'm trying to fix that. No, I said slowly, you're trying to use her. Silence. Then he didn't deny it. It's not using, he said, it's structuring. That word, that fake, polished word, made my stomach turn. What does that even mean? I asked. It means long-term planning, he said. We get married, you gain financial proximity, then slowly, legally, we help her manage things. My hands started shaking again. Manage joint accounts. Power of attorney, downsizing her living situation. Stop. My voice cracked, but I didn't care. Stop talking. Because now I understood everything, the pressure, the wedding, the urgency, the amount. It was never about love, it was about access. You were going to take everything from her, I said. No, he said quickly. We were going to help her transition. That's not help, I whispered. That's control. She's old, Chloe, he said bluntly. She can't manage that kind of money forever. She's managing it better than us, I shot back. That shut him up for a second, then his tone changed. Softer, manipulative. Listen, he said, you're panicking. This is bigger than emotions, this is strategy. Strategy, like my mother's life, was a business deal. You said you loved me, I said quietly. I do, he replied instantly. No, I said, you loved what I could give you. Silence. And this time it stayed longer. He didn't fight it, didn't deny it, and that was the answer. You needed her money, I said, and I was the way to get it. That's not fair, he muttered. It's exactly fair. My voice was calm now. Stronger than I expected, because for the first time I wasn't confused, I wasn't desperate, I wasn't pretending, I was seeing everything clearly. You pushed me, I continued. The wedding, the amount, the urgency, that was all you. We needed a catalyst, he said. That word, that cold, calculated word made something inside me snap. I was your plan, I said. You were our solution, he corrected. No, I said, I was your mistake. Silence. Then his voice hardened. Be careful, Chloe. That tone, different now, not charming, not supportive, threatening. You're already in trouble, he continued. If you turn on me, you go down too. My heart pounded, but I didn't back down. I already am in trouble, I said, but at least now I know why. Think about this, he said. We can still fix it together. That word meant nothing now. No, I said quietly, we're done. You're making a huge mistake. I already did, I replied. I just fixed it. And before I could second guess myself, I hung up. The silence that followed felt different. Not empty, not terrifying, clear, painful, but clear. I looked around the apartment again, the fake life, the borrowed image, the illusion. And for the first time, I didn't want to protect it. I wanted out, completely. Because now I understood something I never had before. I wasn't just drowning because of money. I was drowning because I built my life on people who needed me to stay lost. And if I wanted to survive, I had to let everything collapse. Even him. The next morning, everything hit at once. Not slowly, not gently, all at once. I woke up to my phone vibrating nonstop beside me, notifications, missed calls, emails, messages. For a second, I thought it was something good. Maybe a brand deal, maybe something finally worked, but deep down I already knew this wasn't good. I picked up my phone. First notification, final notice, account sent to collections. Second, legal action pending. Third, payment failure, account restricted. My chest tightened. I opened my email, dozens. Subject lines that all said the same thing in different ways. Pay now. My hands started shaking as I scrolled, then I saw it. The one email that made everything real, notice of legal intent. I couldn't breathe for a second. They weren't warning me anymore. They were moving, fast. I sat up, heart racing, and looked around the apartment. The same apartment that looked perfect yesterday now felt like a trap. Every item suddenly had a price attached to it. Every object felt like debt, every corner pressure. My phone rang, unknown number, I answered. Miss Carter, this is regarding your outstanding balance. I know, I said quickly. Ma'am, failure to respond will result in, I said I know. My voice cracked, silence on the other end. Then, when can you make a payment? I looked around the room, at everything I owned, and realized something terrifying. None of it was actually mine. I can't, I whispered. Pause, then the voice changed, colder, more direct. Then this will proceed to legal recovery. Click. The call ended, and just like that, it was official. I wasn't behind anymore, I was collapsing. I dropped the phone onto the bed and covered my face. For the first time, there was no distraction, no filter, no denial, just truth. I had built a life I couldn't afford with money I didn't have, surrounded by people who weren't real. And now it was all coming down. My phone buzzed again. This time Instagram. I opened it out of habit and immediately regretted it. Messages flooded in, not support, not admiration, questions, doubt, accusations. Is your wedding still happening? Why are brands saying you didn't pay? Are you scamming people? My stomach dropped. It was spreading, the cracks were visible, and once people see cracks, they don't stop looking. They zoom in, they dig, they expose. I refreshed my page, followers dropping slowly, then faster, then faster. Each number felt like something being stripped away, because it was. That account was my identity, and now it was disappearing in real time. I threw the phone aside. I couldn't watch it happen, not like that, not all at once. I stood up suddenly, pacing, breathing fast, thinking fix it, call someone, do something. But there was no one left to call, not Ethan, not brands, not even my mom, because she wasn't going to save me. She already made that clear. I stopped pacing, looked around again, and this time I saw it differently. Not as a life, but as a lie. The couch, rented, the furniture, temporary, the clothes, debt, everything around me was built on something that wasn't real. And I finally understood something I had been avoiding for years. You can't fix a fake life, you have to rebuild a real one, from zero. My phone buzzed again, this time a text from my mom, just one line. Have you decided who you want to be? I stared at it for a long time, because that question was heavier than everything else combined. Not how will you pay, not what's your plan, but who are you going to be now? And for the first time in my life, I didn't have an answer. I sat back down slowly, picked up my phone, opened my camera, not for a post, not for followers, just to look at myself. No filter, no angle, no performance, just me. And honestly, I didn't recognize the person staring back. But maybe that was the point, because everything had fallen apart. And maybe that was the only way something real could finally begin. Rock bottom doesn't feel dramatic. There's no music, no slow motion, no moment where everything suddenly makes sense. It's quiet, uncomfortable, and painfully real. 3 weeks after everything collapsed, I was standing under harsh fluorescent lights in a store I used to walk into just for quick content photos. Now I worked there. Can you take aisle 7? My manager called out. I nodded, didn't argue, didn't complain. I just did it because I didn't have the luxury of saying no anymore. The first few days were the hardest. Not physically, emotionally. Every shelf I stocked, every box I opened, every price tag I scanned felt like a reminder of who I used to pretend to be, and who I actually was now. A girl who couldn't afford her own life. Living paycheck to paycheck. Starting over at zero. My hands weren't soft anymore. My nails weren't perfect. My back hurt at the end of every shift. And for the first time in years, nothing about my life looked impressive. But something strange started happening. Something I didn't expect. For the first time, my life felt honest. No filters, no performance, no pretending, just effort, just work, just reality. I remember one night after my shift, I sat in my car, engine off. Hands resting on the steering wheel, exhausted, completely drained. And I thought, this is it. This is what real life feels like. No applause, no validation, no audience, just you and what you've built. Or in my case, what I was trying to rebuild. My phone buzzed. Sunday, 6 p.m. I didn't even need to look. It was her. Mom. I stared at the screen for a few seconds before answering. Hey, I said quietly. Hey, she replied. Simple, calm, no tension, no judgment, just steady. How was your week? She asked. I let out a small breath. I got a job, I said, a pause, then I'm proud of you. That hit harder than anything else, not because it was dramatic, but because it was real. I hate it, I admitted. I know, she said. Silence. Then she added, that's part of it. I smiled a little, for the first time in a while, a real smile. I don't know if I can fix everything, I said. You're not supposed to fix everything at once, she replied. Just don't quit. I leaned back in my seat, closed my eyes, let that sink in, because for once she wasn't trying to save me, she was teaching me. And for the first time, I was actually listening. I started paying it back, I said. $50 this week. It counts, she said. It feels small. It's not, she replied. It's different. I opened my eyes. Different how? It's yours. That stayed with me. After the call ended, I sat there a little longer, thinking, not about what I lost, but about what I was finally building, something real, something slow, something that didn't disappear overnight. Weeks turned into months. I stopped checking my follower count, stopped posting, stopped caring what strangers thought. I started learning things I should have known years ago: how to budget, how to cook, how to say no, how to live without pretending. The first time I paid off a credit card completely, I cried, not because it was a huge amount, but because it was the first thing I had ever finished without quitting, without escaping, without hiding. And slowly, piece by piece, my life started to feel different. Not better, not easier, but real. One night I caught my reflection again, no makeup, hair tied back, work uniform still on, and for the first time I didn't look away. Because I finally recognized the person staring back, not the girl who had everything, but the one who was finally learning how to earn it. Rock bottom doesn't feel dramatic. 2 years later, my life didn't look anything like the one I used to post online. And for the first time, I was okay with that. Actually, more than okay, I was proud of it. I lived in a small apartment now, nothing fancy, nothing worth showing off, but everything inside it was mine. Every chair, every plate, every single thing earned, not borrowed, not staged, not fake. I still worked, still budgeted, still paid off my debt little by little. It wasn't glamorous, it wasn't fast, but it was real, and that made all the difference. Every Sunday, 6 p.m., I called my mom. At first, those calls were awkward, short, careful. Like we were both afraid to say the wrong thing, but over time, something changed. We stopped talking about money, stopped talking about the past. We started talking about life, about small things, simple things, real things. And somehow, those conversations became the most important part of my week. One Sunday, she said something that stayed with me. You sound different, she said. I am different, I replied. A pause. Then, I can hear it. That meant more than any compliment I had ever received online, because it wasn't about how I looked, it was about who I had become. Months later, I drove to see her. No filters, no expectations. No performance, just me. When she opened the door, I felt it immediately, not tension, not distance, something else, peace. Hi, Mom, I said. She smiled, a real smile. Hi, that was it, no drama, no speeches, just understanding. We sat together that evening. Simple dinner, simple conversation, and at some point I finally asked the question I had been carrying for years. Do you regret it? She looked at me, calm, steady. Regret what? Saying no, I said. To the money, to everything? She didn't answer right away. She thought about it, then said no. That answer didn't hurt this time. It didn't feel cold. It felt right. Because if I had said yes, she continued, I would have lost you. My chest tightened. And now, I asked. She looked at me again, softer this time. Now I have you back. That broke me, not in a painful way, in a real way, because for the first time I understood something I never had before. She didn't say no to hurt me. She said no to save me. We sat in silence after that, not uncomfortable, not heavy, just full. Later that night, as I got ready to leave, she stopped me. One more thing, she said. I turned. You remember what you asked me 2 years ago? I frowned slightly. What? If I still loved you, my throat tightened. Yeah, she stepped closer, looked me straight in the eyes. I never stopped. Silence. Then she added, but now I respect you too. That meant everything, because love, I always assumed I had it. But respect, that was something I had to earn, and finally I did. I got into my car that night, and for the first time in years, I didn't feel like I was chasing something. I wasn't trying to impress anyone. I wasn't trying to prove anything. I was just living. And as I drove away, I realized something that changed everything. I thought I needed $450,000 to build a perfect life. But the truth, I needed to lose everything to finally build a real one.